Welcome back to another episode of Wire to Wire Sports Podcast. I am back, me and all three of my fans. Yeah, I've heard that was a small shot last week, but that's okay. I'm back. It's me. It's the Gene. In the upper left corner, I got Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, College Cottrell.
Gene, welcome back, buddy. I hope you had a great time on your trip there. Got a lot of sun, and I see you got some. I saw the pictures you were posting. Looked like it was some nice weather. You got to enjoy some nice weather there. So, looks like you had a great time. But we're glad to have you back, buddy.
I'm glad someone's going to have you back after little comments thrown last show. I'm not waiting a whole week to take the little his three fans that are listening. I'm out of here with that bullshit. In the upper right corner, Scholastic Shally, Uncle Shally, Mr. Send a Shot Shally. What's going on, brother?
What's up, boys? How's everyone?
I'm good. I'm phenomenal.
Good. It's going to be a good day. I feel like this is going to be a spirited show.
Oh, we're going to have some fun.
Spirited.
We are going to have some fun tonight. We're starting with some little hot wire action, new segment, Wire to Wire. We're going to go over the latest topics, latest things going on. Hot wire. Cottrell is going to read the topics off. We are going to react. I am fired up. Hey, do me a favor. Tag followers. Share us out. If you love us, like, share, and send it, do all that jazz. Send, share, and show us love. Now send it out to 100 people. I'm ready to rock and roll. Y'all talk. When I introduce you guys, talk a little longer. So I can click the same button. Okay, I had a great week. How was things? I'm kidding.
I gave you a great welcome back. I tried to buy you some time there. So
you did.
I can only do
so much. We
played
a fun softball game last night. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It was a wild game. I don't think it was fun. What'd you say?
I said, did you win? Is the biggest question.
I have not lost a softball game this year. 10-0. Hey, nice. Listen, it won't last forever. But 10-0.
Nice.
I think it was like 32-10. It was a wild night. But we got a lot to get into tonight. A lot to get into. I'm going to continue sharing us out. Callie, why don't you tell them how you walked 25 people last night in the hailstorm?
It definitely wasn't 25. I was actually quite.
You did really good.
I was actually quite impressed. It was as low as it was. It apparently got a lot worse after we left, but
I heard.
It's a field of the way the wind is set up. It's very rare that it's blowing directly straight out to like center field. And last night it was heavy. So if you were pitching, you were literally trying to throw a ball underhand into like a 25-mile-per-hour wind. So it was interesting for sure. It did some funny things to the softball last night.
Did you see the score of the last game?
Yeah.
47-18.
If we were playing them last night, I definitely would have been like, nah, I'm good.
Start throwing line drives. Make them try to pop it up. All right, but I'm kidding. They're obviously they crushed the ball last night, but that's fun. We'll talk about stuff. Appreciate everybody tagging followers. Kyle, Jory, Key. I love it. I'm ready to rock and roll. So we're gonna get into our new segment. Let's get into our new segment now. We got a lot of conversation to get into tonight. I don't want nobody taking shit personal tonight. I'm here to debate. I'm going to keep shit very, very no personal.
I've been yelling at Cottrell for 2 hours already, so.
Really?
So we want to get into it. Gene, you want to let the people know what Hot Wire is about?
Hot Wire is us going over the latest topics, the things that are happening around all sports, right? So it's basically a newer, updated version of what we were previously calling. What were we calling it again? Headlines. But it'll be a segment that's every week here. We recognize this. Like we ask for feedback constantly, and one of the things is sometimes our lists are a little long-winded, and they're good, but they're just a little long-winded. we're going to get back to our basis in which I'm telling Shally he's wrong and him getting red in the face and screaming at me. I'm just kidding.
It's going to take 2 minutes.
With that said here, we are going to go to the world of college football. The news that just broke today about Nico Iamaleava making his new decision and ultimately choosing UCLA. So just to kind of, summarize things here, Nico's a starting quarterback at Tennessee. Right before their spring game, the practice before their spring game, he decided that he wanted to go and talk to Tennessee and, that coaching staff and, just the athletic department in general about contract things and, wanting more money. And from his side, he says that he wanted to tailor the offense more towards him and quarterbacking play. Tennessee is saying he wanted more money and we weren't willing to give it to him. And, essentially legal extortion is kind of what Tennessee's kind of branded it as. But ultimately, he made his decision to hit the portal. And today he just committed to UCLA. Fair or foul how the whole process went, I guess, is this another issue with NIL? Do you guys think that this is something that is good for the sport or that needs to change immediately? Who's in the wrong here? Give me your thoughts about the whole situation there.
So real quick, I already know where this is going to go. Is this what you guys have been arguing over through text for the last couple hours?
One of them.
Yes.
I can tell right now, Trell is on the side of the player and Shally is on the side of what's actually right.
It's funny. It's funny because Cottrell said one of them. Because one of the topics, I'm on Cottrell's side, and then Alex is by himself, and the other one, Alex is kind of with me, and then we're going against Cottrell, and it just keeps going back and forth. So it's really funny. But yeah, go ahead.
But no, what's right is what's right. I pledge allegiance to Josh Heupel and the Tennessee Volunteers for, hey, you signed for $2 million. Now you see a bad quarterback goes to the University of Miami, gets $4 million, and then you won $4 million. You're going to hold out. Nah, bro. Nobody's bigger than the team. I'm happy that Tennessee told Nico to hit the road, Jack. And by the way, Nico, who's a stud, he's going to be a good quarterback. He looked really good last year versus Appalachian State and McNeese and the mid-majors. And when it came down to playing this true SEC schedule, 12 and 19 for 155, one touchdown, one pick. You're not Bryce Young, brother. You're not going to get that money, and you holding out to get that money from UCLA, that's fine. Go to the Big Ten, get the shit kicked out of you, get your money now, get your $4 million now, because you probably will never be a pro. I got mad, no love for what Nico did. I can't stand it. So that's who I'm at, right? And yeah, Nico's dad will ruin. Does that not remind you a little Friday Night Lights action? Does that not remind you of Permian West, whatever the hell that was? Like where the kid, the running back, Michael B. Jordan's on the new team and his dad's getting in the way. Did I do that right? I'm sorry. I watched the whole thing. I'm hoping I'm getting it right. What's the guy's name?
Who are you talking about? Like which?
I'm talking about Friday Night Lights, the TV show, where he coaches the other university and the guy's dad gets in the way of the dual threat quarterback. And he's constantly just plugging his head in. I think Michael B. Jordan is the quarterback.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I know. Yes, that is.
Is that not what Nico's doing, bro? Is that not what his dad is getting involved in doing? Like, man, you're going to ruin this kid. And then he's going to UCLA. He's going to play in the Big Ten. They're not going to be that good. And he's going to get the shit kicked out of him in cold weather. Good luck, Nico.
So to answer the other part of the question really quick, no, this is terrible for college football. No matter how you slice it, no matter what side of the argument you come down here on, this is what we've been talking about for 2 years now. It's getting out of hand. It's a joke. And per the norm, Mark Emmert, NCAA, they're nowhere to be found. They have no comment, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to get into that tirade because it's not the time or place for it. And I'm just not going to do it. But in regards to this, listen, to not to make too much light of it, but he's the first kid that got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. That's what this is. You can't agree to, we talk all the time about, teams not, not coming up, not holding up their end of the bargain, blah, 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 blah. And, for lack of a better term, they get penalized, or if the people leave, then that's on them. To agree to $2 million up front as a freshman before playing it down at the University of Tennessee, mind you. Again, we're not talking about Appalachian State or somewhere else. Talking about Tennessee. You then go win the starting quarterback position. Great, you've earned it. Again, there's no go watch Coast to Coast last year. There's no bigger fan of that kid than I was. I had him in my top 5 Heisman at the beginning of the year preseason. I had Tennessee making the playoff because of him. I'm not coming down on Nico because I don't like him. I like him. This is a horrible move for him. And if it was his parents speaking too much for him, if it was somebody in the background pumping him up too much, you got a dose of reality today. And again, he in my opinion, he's the first kid that I think he was going to go into whose ever office, Heupel, the AD, whoever, and thought he was going to strong arm Tennessee into doing something they didn't want to do. He skipped a couple practices, skipped a couple meetings, and it got to the point where they were like, we're done. We're not giving you more money. This is what it's at. You either show up or you don't. He didn't. Josh Heupel went right to the AD and was like, I'm kicking him off the team, and the AD signed it immediately for his release. Can't do it, man. And if you want to do damage control and spin it now and say it was about the offense, I don't know how you're going to look me straight in the face without laughing and say you're going to a better situation in UCLA than you were at QB1 at Tennessee in the SEC. Facilities, football program, tradition, coaching, however you want to slice it, the check marks go on the side of Tennessee. You were QB1. They didn't even bring in they didn't even go out and recruit a quarterback for this cycle because you were going to be the guy. You're going to be the guy there for the next 2 years. It was your program, bro. You're the face of the program. You're on the preseason program, everything. You're the guy walking around Tennessee as the guy, and that wasn't good enough. You wanted more money. Hate to say it, but Gene hit something else right on the head. Looked great preseason. As the season went on, that offense started to look worse and worse. You want to blame that all on coaching and not some of that on quarterback play. I think that's a little short-sighted. You're going to go to UCLA now, where their coach last year took the media stand at Big Ten Media Day, and it looked like he was about to get run over by a truck. Shell shock. Didn't even know what the hell to say. All he kept saying was, I'm glad I'm here. Like, you think you're going to go get better coaching and you're going to run a better offense there with the schedule that UCLA has this year? Good luck. I hope you go there for a year. I hope you kind of stay out of the spotlight, do your thing. And the way the NCAA is now, maybe transfer out somewhere else and really get your career back on track and go to the NFL. This was a horrible, horrible mistake by him and his camp. Again, no matter how you slice it, it was a terrible, terrible decision. It's the best way I could put it.
Can I ask you a question real quick? I want to ask Cottrell questions. I want Cottrell to argue with me. I do.
Okay.
So I think you're going to take a side, and I don't think you're going to take Nico's side. Am I correct?
Not fully.
Okay.
But...
So, all right. So can you give me the reasons why Nico is not wrong?
Okay.
Hold on. Before you answer that, only because I have privy to so I'm going to be quiet because I know what you're going to say, and I want you to have your side. But did where he end up going now soften this a little bit for you?
It softens the huge mistake part. Like I'm not dug in on that side. It's still.
All right.
So when it was talking about to kind of just explain like that portion of it. So we were talking on the side about, the decision and the schools that were interested. And ultimately, we were talking about North Carolina being one of those schools. Now, I'm fully aware that North Carolina is not the program, nor do they have the same resources that Tennessee would have in the football aspect. But I thought, for me personally, if you have the opportunity to be coached by Bill Belichick, that is an opportunity. And I wouldn't necessarily call that a worse situation. Worse school, sure. But as far as development goes and things like that, I thought UNC would be something that could potentially make a lot of sense for him. Him ultimately going to UCLA, I do think that is a terrible ultimately a terrible decision for him. And I don't think that his development will go anywhere as close to what it would have at Tennessee. The one thing, though, that I said about the situation that I can continue to say about the situation is, especially with NIL, you don't know what's being offered or what's being said to these players behind closed doors. So, like, on the surface level, I think it looks crazy that Nico is, coming out and saying, hey, I want a raise. I'm not practicing till you guys give me $4 million. This is ultimately what I want to do. But my stance about it is that we don't know what was said before the season, where it was like, hey, if you're our starting quarterback and you do X, Y, and Z, at the end of the year, we'll have a conversation about, hey, we can add in certain incentives and things like that. So for Nico, as a redshirt freshman, ultimately went to the college football playoff. He was their starter the entire season. Who's to say that wasn't like a built-in thing to say, hey, you're going to get, extra money here, or we'll at least revisit the conversation once that happens. So I think the timing of everything was awful. I think how it ultimately played out was also awful. I'm not a fan of, especially during spring ball, because I think he was trying to really play the leverage game there right before spring ball. I think that's a very selfish decision, and, ultimately makes you look bad in the media there. So I hated the timing of it. Ultimately, I hated that he did it. But at the same time, to just act like, oh, this Tennessee's program is, 100% in the right, and no matter how Nico went about it is absolutely wrong, without knowing everything that happened there, because this is Division I football. Promises get made to these kids all the time. I'm just saying, without knowledge of what that scenario was, I can't say it's 100% on Nico. Right now, depend like where he's at and ultimately where he ended up going, I can even be on the side saying that it's right now, and I'm willing to go higher. I'm willing to say it's 75% Nico, because a lot of how he went about it has been wrong.
I think it's higher.
I'm not ready to completely absolve Tennessee for what they may or may not have done in this process.
What do you mean what they may or may not have done in this process? So here's what drove me nuts about Nico, right? You've seen the report that came out. He goes, it's not about money. It's about the offense, right? You've seen that report. Yeah. Okay, after asking for $2 million more. So the offense was fine if it was $4 million. It's not fine for $2 million. That's one. Here's the second part, right? Let's just say that Josh Heupel had no history of developing quarterbacks, because we know that's not true. Hendon Hooker, who was drafted in the second round by the Detroit Lions, is on an NFL roster with a torn ACL. Joe Milton, also out of Tennessee, was basically banished out of the state of Michigan, got drafted and played on an NFL team last year, and now got traded. So Josh Heupel can develop quarterbacks and get them drafted in the NFL. So what is this really about? Is it about playing to the strengths of Nico's offense? I don't know, but I'll say this. I think it's embarrassing for, like, I'm not saying you're saying 75% on Nico. I don't know how it's not 90% on Nico, 95% on Nico. I think it's a proven character issue for the kid, that, I agreed to pay for $2 million. I didn't really play that great. Now I want $4 million. I hate that. I hate that concept. It's about money. It's not about him going pro, and they're capitalizing now because they don't think the kid's going to be a pro. I fully believe that.
My rebuttal to that would be it's obviously it's an if, but if it comes out that Tennessee said, hey, if you go to the college football playoff and you accomplish X, Y, and Z, we'll revisit the conversation. And I'm not going to say necessarily it was 2 million. Let's say it was just 1 million. Like, we'd be willing to go up 1 million. Ultimately, I think of you brought up the point of Carson Beck being at Miami. I do think that honestly played a big part of it. Like, I think I'm a better quarterback than what Carson Beck stinks, and he got to leave Georgia, go to Miami, and get more money. So, like, I do think that is a part of it. So let's just say, and I'm just, trying to shortchange it here, the offer was $1 million more if they go to the college football playoff and he comes back and, go through all that. If that comes out that Tennessee had said they were going to renegotiate deals, because we've already been seeing really all offseason so far, there's been some high profile guys that it's been reported that they've renegotiated their NIL deals. So, like, this wouldn't be the first time that it's happened this offseason. So if that comes out that Tennessee had said that they wanted to renegotiate towards the end of the offseason there, depending on how the season ended up, and it got time to, put the pen to paper, and they were like, you know what, you already agreed to $2 million. We're not going to do that anymore. Does that change either of your stances with anything?
So what you're
Not-
doing
no,
is you're saying, go ahead, Charlie.
Not until I see proof of it. Like, we're throwing this huge hypothetical if out there that we're saying that there was a verbal agreement to talk after the season. Because if there wasn't, then all this kid's doing is just going back on his word, or his dad's making him do it, or whoever. My problem is this. If that was really the case, like I said earlier, there's no way I'm letting my son get dragged all over ESPN, Fox Sports, everywhere else, which is what's happening, saying this kid's holding out for more money, he's going back on his word, if that's not the case. It was always about money. And then again, to sign with UCLA today and use the excuses offense when you're going from Tennessee to one of the bottom feeders in the Power Four, it doesn't make any sense. It just screams that, to your point, you tried to use all the leverage you had to get more money, and Tennessee said, we're not doing it. We had an agreement. We paid this kid $2 million when he was an unknown quantity and put all of our baskets in that egg, or all those eggs in that basket, and gave you the $2 million before you did anything. And that's what you're getting. And they were like, nope, we want this, we want that. You could say Carson Beck all you want. I don't think Carson Beck's a good quarterback. I don't think he's going to be an NFL quarterback, but he's a more accomplished quarterback than Nico is at this point. And to your point about people renegotiating, I agree that's probably part of it. But we don't know if all those people either had like, hey, if A, B, and C happens, then we come back and renegotiate. I think some of those situations were, hey, we want to keep you. You want to stay here. We want to keep you happy. We had a great year. Let's go out to lunch and talk. I don't think all those were formal, like, hey, we met stipulations. We want more money now.
Agreed. So I'm just saying, like, that could be Nico's situation. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
But that, what you're saying is that could happen, right? So what you're saying is it could happen that the university lied to him, and the information his dad and him are putting out have not said the university lied to him. They're saying it wasn't about money, it's about the offense. So if you thought the people that were being messy in the situation weren't going to be messy if they were lied to, I don't know what to tell you. That's not what happened. I can understand you going, well, it could have happened. Yeah, it could have happened. But I don't think, and I think that Tennessee comes out of this smelling like roses. The only thing that sucks is they're really not going to have a quarterback going into this season. But other than that, I think they come out smelling like roses.
I'm just saying, I know as far as recruiting goes and things like that, like to act like shady stuff, not even shady, but to act like promises aren't made behind closed doors. I mean, again, to Bill's point that he just made, like, I'm sure those deals that happen behind closed doors happen. But why wouldn't they say it? I mean, that's a fair question. That is a fair question. I'm just saying, until I know the full facts, like, I don't want to just go out and say, hey, this kid is an absolute moron.
He is a moron. I'll say it.
How everything happened.
What's next on the agenda? He's a moron. I'll say.
So next up, we'll stick in college football, because I think the last two are a little bit quicker. So we'll go to Colorado has decided to retire the jerseys of number 12, Travis Hunter, and number 2, Shedeur Sanders. Right move, wrong move, understand it, don't understand it.
Oh, dude, all three of us are going to be split on this. I can tell now. Callie hates it. Control's 50-50 on it, and I love it. But go ahead, Callie.
You're not right there. All right. Overall, kids not even graduating yet and getting their numbers retired is bullshit to me. That's first and foremost. Number two, the part of it I really don't like, you're diminishing what Travis Hunter accomplished by doing him the same time as Shedeur Sanders. If you two are the same people, and Cottrell sold 100,000 phones and you sold 70, and Cottrell won an award and you didn't, and then at the end of the year, they both gave you the same recognition, I'd be pissed off. Thirdly, one of those kids deserves it, one of them doesn't. And I'm sorry. And that's my opinion on it's not going to change. And the reason they're doing it so quickly is because with the people they already brought in, and as long as Deion stays there, at some point, those records are probably going to come down, and they're probably going to come down pretty quickly. And then once they do, you have no leg to stand on to retire that kid's number ever. He's 13-12 as a starter, didn't win a bowl game, didn't win a conference. Rashaan Salam, who is debatably the best player to ever step foot on that campus, had to die to get his number retired in the Ring of Honor. That kid won a Heisman. Would have made the college football playoff. They had it back then. Won 11-1, was, other than the national championship team, was the best team Colorado's ever had. It just screams certain things to me, and it's not going to change. I don't know where you're going to fall on it. I know where Cottrell falls on.
I don't need you to change your opinion, Bill.
Oh, I'm not.
I think it's a genius marketing strategy for Colorado. Like, here you go. Look at these guys. They came to Colorado. They're not Alabama. We're not USC. We're not Ohio State. We're little old Colorado. And we have 2 of the top 5 draft picks in the NFL draft. I mean, Shedeur might go 9. It depends. But like 2 top 5 draft picks in the NFL draft. We're marketing our players. NIL is good. Come to Colorado and you can be like just like Shedeur and just like Travis Hunter and get your jerseys retired and be put on a pedestal and be treated like A, B, and C and get all this College Game Day and The Rock and Pat McAfee are coming to Boulder. It's a genius marketing strategy. I don't care about whose number is retired, but I will say this about Shedeur. He will go down, and I don't care what you say about Cordell Stewart. I don't care what you say about anyone else. The highest drafted Colorado quarterback of all time. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. And Travis Hunter is the first two-way player to win the Heisman. You look at the situation, it's genius for Deion Sanders to put these guys on this pedestal and get other kids to be like, I want to be like Shedeur. I want to be like Travis, have my number retired, go to Colorado, be treated like gold. I love it. I think it's genius.
Gene, I couldn't agree with you more. The only side of it that I haven't really tapped into with my argument is the marketing side of it. But as far as everything else you said there, that is exactly why I'm okay with it. Like, I think if people want to say that they did it too early, then I can understand that. Like, if you just waited 1 year, like nothing really changes at that point. They're a year removed from campus. I don't think anything changes there. So I can hear that argument. But as far as what Travis Hunter did, I mean, being a two-way player, winning the Heisman, and I know we've had two-way players in the past, but he's the best to do it as far as like production on both sides, like having the production on both sides of the ball there. And then as far as Shedeur goes, you talk about him being the highest drafted quarterback, 100%. Like, that is definitely a huge part of it to me. And I think the fact that he already has broken, like, of the 8, season and or career records, he's already broken those only 2 seasons, where a lot of those guys, granted, they were older time frames, they were 4-year starters or played there for 3 or 4 seasons. So I think that if you have the records and you have the numbers, then it's fine to be in that ring of honor. And to your other point, this is the point that I absolutely love the most, and it's the one that I've been trying to make like all day long, is this is not Ohio State. This is not Alabama. This isn't Florida. This isn't teams that are perennial championship winning programs year in and year out. Like, that is not what this is. The fact that we're talking about Shedeur Sanders being the best quarterback in that school's history, it's okay if he goes in the ring of honor. If you say it's too early, I'm all good with it. But if I just say out loud that, and I don't put any names attached to it, hey, X quarterback has 5 passing records at X school and, has these records and is the highest drafted quarterback of all time, is it okay if they go to the ring of honor? Your answer would be yes, if I don't tell you what the name of the kid is and what the name of the school is. So I don't have a big issue. I don't have a big issue with it.
But Charles, what's funny is, I think you said you think it might be too early, or it could be because it's Deion's kid or whatever. You said that, right? I think that argument plays actually perfect for them. If Prime did it 4 years from now, that doesn't help them recruit now. That doesn't help them get people to Colorado now. So I don't care. Like if they do it in 4 years from now, to me, that's 4 years too late. Like in the people that Prime is the kids that Prime is recruiting are not these 5-star blue chip prospects that have been recruited since the middle of high school. These are 3-4-star kids that are from inner cities that he's trying to get to go to Colorado, change their lives. And well, first of all,
he's a 5-star kid that just transferred in. That's been told he's been God's gift to creation since he was 12.
I'm not talking about Travis and Shedeur.
Recruit.
They have.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the kid who's going to start for them this year.
He's talking about Julian Lewis.
They had 4 or 5-star kids on their roster last year. 4.
They have a 5-star. Julian Lewis is a 5-star, can't miss blue chip quarterback prospect.
And that's not the person I'm referring to, Shally. I'm referring to the rest of the team. You can say Julian Lewis went there and he's a 5-star kid, and you're right about that. But the other kids that they're trying to market to are not, they can't get that many. They don't have that much, as much NIL money as Ohio State, as Michigan, as Colorado, as Alabama, as Florida State or Florida. They don't have that. That's my point.
And that's sign him.
All right, so
I just don't know where you get like credit for breaking. Like we're talking about breaking records, but then we're unwitting, like acknowledging we're breaking mediocre records. So it's like he didn't go to Tennessee and wipe Peyton Manning off the board in 2 years.
We don't care. Should Bailey Zappi be in the Ring of Honor for Western Kentucky?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's the same thing.
Absolutely.
Look, it's the same thing. It's each level to where they're at. He's going to get drafted higher than Bailey Zappi. He's going to have it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So Bill says no to that. I understand his concept, but it's the same damn thing.
Okay.
Sorry, Bill. We're going to switch topics.
All right. So a little bit more of a somber one. We only got 2 more here. The other one will be quick, but a little bit more of a somber one. You had former LSU receiver Kyron Lacy passed away over the past weekend. He was the receiver from LSU that had declared for the draft, but had an ongoing case with I think they deemed it negligent homicide, and ultimately he was involved in an accident that killed a former Marine. But just wanted to get your guys' thoughts about the situation, see if there was anything you wanted to specifically say about it. I feel like it was one of the big topics this past week, so felt like it was one that we needed to hit on.
There's always a better option than to end it. There's always a better option than to you should all. I feel so bad for so many of these kids that feel like that's their only option to do. Like listen, if he is found guilty and he goes to jail and spends a year or 2 years or 3 years in jail and doesn't play in the NFL, he still has 50 of his years left to live, 30 of his years, 40 of his years. And that's worst case scenario if that happens. He also can get out of jail in 2-3 years if he went to jail and could revamp his career like Michael Vick did. And, go on an apology tour and contrition and try to get back in the NFL. But that's not the point. This is a kid that chose to take his life. And I genuinely think it was out of guilt. And I think it was out of sadness and out of the fact that he felt like he had nowhere else to turn. And that's awful. He's a young kid. And a lot of these young kids sometimes make mistakes behind the wheel. And I don't know about you guys. Maybe you guys are from a different world than I am. I made a shit ton of mistakes that could have put me in a really bad way when I was a kid. I'm not like perfect, man. I've driven. I definitely speeded before. I definitely did a lot of stuff I shouldn't do that I'm not going to talk about on air. The point being is I feel terrible that he felt like he had nowhere else to go. And he's so young. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I just wanted to just go real quick here because I mean, obviously, I share a lot of the same sentiments there, and I think that a couple things here. You point to the fact that he is a kid. I do think that that is one of the important points to make there. I also think it's important to hold everybody accountable and responsible for action that they take. So that doesn't excuse necessarily what happened there. And I think your point about him potentially going to jail there, which I mean I think would have been a almost inevitable kind of thing there, just given what we know about the situation. But it's okay to make mistakes, and even mistakes that big. And obviously this was eating him up if he felt like this was the only option for him. And there's still, like you mentioned, there's ways to work through this, and I think that's like the important thing. I think the NCAA needs to figure out a way to have these conversations with these kids, because a lot of it is, we talk about the NIL, them getting these cars, making bad decisions. Like I think that's a big part of it, but I also think it's a big part for these kids to have I don't want to call it necessarily a safe space, but they need to have some sort of outlet where if they make a bad decision, or if they feel like they don't have anywhere else to turn, like there needs to be some sort of setup for that, because at the end of the day, they are just kids. And it as much as I get on Brian Kelly and, don't like him, how he goes about things, and, just in general, his coaching, his press conference was kind of eye-opening, because like, of course he was sad about the situation and, lost a former player. But the part that kind of sucked was that he said, as bad as this is the first time that this has happened. He talked about how much he liked Kyron as a player, but also talked about like how he liked him as a person, and how, his emotions and his smile was like lighting up their locker room and things like that. It just sucks. And I feel like it's obviously, this is a bigger story because Kyron was just in the news, but it is an ongoing issue with the NCAA, and they got to find a way to figure it out.
Shall
I mean, for me, it's tragic, and it's tragic on a lot of different levels. It's tragic that, we have, a Marine and somebody who, fought for this country in Afghanistan, needlessly killed. We have a young kid who, for lack of a better terms, was blessed with a lot of God-given talent that was probably going to be able to play at the next level and be a success story coming out of a, kind of a smaller town, kind of the fairy tale success story. You now you have two families that are hurting. You have a family that's not gonna kind of really get closure and maybe what they felt was justice. And you have another family who's now burying their son. It's tragic all around. It's tragic that, like you guys both said, that there's a young kid that felt like he had no support system, that he again, inevitably, I think he was going to prison one way or the other. I don't think he was escaping that, but the fact that he had felt he had nowhere else to turn, that he couldn't rely on his parents to help him get it through it, ex-teammates, ex-coaches, the fact that he felt he had nowhere else to turn, that, maybe even he was about to embark on the 3, 4, 5 darkest years of his life. To Gene's point, if he does 5 years, he's still getting out in his late 20s. He has a whole life to live. Maybe the NFL ship has sailed at that point, but you can get out of and find somebody to marry and raise a family. There's just so many, things he could have done with his life. And the fact that that's cut short now is, again, it's tragic through and through. And we've talked about it a lot. And to Gene's other point, again, I was in the position when I was very young that I owned a lot of expensive, fast cars, and I did dumb shit. I promise you. It could have easily been me. It could have been anybody else, but we're seeing it. It's becoming a rampant thing across the country now with NIL. These kids are going out and buying, you know, $100,000, $125,000, $150,000 cars that they don't need. And it's going to continue to happen. Like we've literally had kids die on the night of a championship already. And now we have another kid who, you know, again, I don't think on purpose, but killed a Marine and now has taken his own life. And it's nobody stepping in. Nobody wants to step up and try to put any of this to rest. And it sucks all around. You can't, and I've said this before over and over, at the end of the day, and Gene kind of touched on this, at the end of the day, they're still kids. You give a 19-year-old a really fast car, I promise you he's going to do dumb shit with it. They're kids. It's what they do. And you just hope that yours doesn't make the bad mistake and they learn from it and they don't do that ever again. But sometimes there's cases like this. It's just, there's so many people that need to step up here and help make change. And I just don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. And we'll probably have to talk about something like this again, unfortunately.
All right. So last thing here, and I feel like it's the perfect transition here to get us over to basketball. WNBA draft happened and Paige Bueckers went number 1. Of course, there's other names like notable names there. You had Nisa Morrow go 5th overall. You had Haley Van Lith go 11th overall. But as a whole, you know, obviously Paige was the headliner in this year's draft. How good do you think that like she's going to be at the next level? Do you think she's a player that the Sky can truly build around? Or yeah, I mean, I guess
we're talking about
her career going.
Sky? You said the Sky.
No, I meant Dallas. To the
okay.
Dallas Wings.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure I didn't. I thought you were talking about because you said Haley and Haley went to the Sky. I actually think that was really interesting that Haley went back and is going to play with Angel.
Yeah,
I felt like they had a very tumultuous ending at LSU. Just my opinion, but I think Paige is going to be a top 20 player in the league. I think she'll be she could be a great Robin and eventually could be a very good Batman. I don't think that she'll be on a top 10 player in the WNBA in the next 3, 4, 5 years, but I think she'll be very good in the league. I think she's got all the tools, and I think what's going to make her adjustment seem a lot easier than most people would think her adjustment could be is the fact that she's so fundamentally sound. She's so intelligent. She does so many things well. She's a 3-level scorer that can shoot the 3, that she can shoot the mid-range. She can get to the hole. She's a good defender. She's a good passer. Like, she does a lot of things really good. So I think she's a very good draft pick. I think she was no doubt about it, number 1. I think she makes an impact. And I think Dallas is in the playoffs this year. Like, I think that you have to look at that addition and say, they're going to make it to the playoffs. I think they will.
I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, and honestly, I mean, I don't know what other case you would have made to take somebody else number 1 if you're in Dallas's spot to have the kind of like fundamental building block to build around. It had to be Paige. I agree. And I'm not going to get long-winded on this one. I agree with Gene. She does everything well. She's going to make everybody that plays around her better. She's a threat herself. She can shoot. Again, very good defender. She's going to be a very good facilitator. So I think it's a home run for Dallas. I think they have to be really happy with what they got in her. She's a leader. She's a winner. She knows what she's doing. I don't think she's going to have, the Caitlin Clark type impact or anything like that, but she's going to be a very, very, very good pro for the next decade.
I tried so hard to get through that whole thing without saying her name one time.
I
don't want it to be comparative. And I get it was last year's number 1, but like,
it's all the idiots online already. That's like, she's gonna. I'm like, just let her go play. I just don't. It's so annoying.
I will say, I think that although, I mean, I don't think their games are anything similar, and of course, like I'm not going to compare the two. I think Paige can learn a lot from the road that Caitlin Clark had, like her path going through the WNBA, as far as it's okay to struggle within your first 10, 15 games. It's okay if, by the All-Star break, you don't have it all figured out. And it's also possible that after the All-Star break, you may have it figured out. You may be a lot better of a player. But even if you don't, it's okay. Like, you have time to grow in that role. So I do think that's an important piece. I do think she can learn from Caitlin in that aspect. But as far as her as a player, I think, the intangibles that she has, she's definitely a piece that I think can fit and play with anybody. And I think her being with Arike and her being with DeJounte, like I think those are going to be two great players to be around. She's very good defensively. She can facilitate the ball as well. I think she's going to have a really good career. And, I'm excited about that Dallas team. I think that Dallas can be a really, really good spot for her.
I also think that Dallas is a perfect fit for her. She already has a scorer there in Ogunbowale. She can score the basketball at another level. And she's got, like, in my opinion, I think that when you walk onto a basketball court, and this is not a comparison, relax when I say this, but I think when you have, I don't want to say DeJounte an enforcer, but what I do want to say is that she commands respect in the league. She is definitely someone that doesn't take crap. So, like, you have that big sister that's right next to you, that's your teammate, that can make sure you understand how to adjust at the next level. I think it's a good environment for her to walk into. She's a good defender. DeJounte's a good defender. It kind of makes up for the fact that Arike's not. But at the end of the day, I think that what they're building over there in Dallas is a very good team.
Agreed. But that's all we got for Hot Wire. It was a little bit longer this week. We had a lot of topics. We're a little bit lighter on the show. We got a lot of recaps later on and stuff like that. But perfect transition, Gene, if you want to take us on over to the NBA.
Well, so the NBA is the play-in games just happened, right? So you got two more play-in games tonight. These are the games I consider that don't matter, right? I don't think any of the four teams playing tonight will be playing after tomorrow, or not tomorrow, whatever it is, Friday. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, I want to talk about the playoff matchups and the awards, if we can do that, because we probably won't be back on air before the playoffs start. So I'd rather talk about what our playoff matchups are and what we kind of see in that, and then the awards for the year. So first, I think we should kind of wrap up the season with our season-ending awards. And I just, obviously, we can talk about this a little bit more at a later show, but it looks like SGA has solidified his first MVP. Anybody disagree with that? Do you guys think Nikola Jokic got robbed?
I won't say he got robbed, but I do think a part of this is, I don't want to call it voter fatigue, but you put up essentially a 30-point triple-double as your stats, and you lead the league, or you're not lead the league, but you're top 5 in points, rebounds, and assists. I get it. Winning has to matter, but like, that is impact beyond belief. I mean, if you look at what the Nuggets look like when Nikola is not on the floor versus when he is on the floor, it is a night and day difference there. Not to mention, obviously this shouldn't go into account, but not to mention, clearly there was turmoil in that locker room because Mike Malone just got fired. So for him to still be able to go out and do that, I don't want to say he got robbed, but I think in a lot of other years, we're talking about Nikola Jokic as your MVP. But that's not to take away from what Shai's done this year. I think Shai has been absolutely incredible. And I mean, I do think winning is a big factor and should be important. Hell, I wouldn't have been as upset. Like, I feel like Joker's having a better year than his MVP season last year. I know the wins aren't stacking up the same, but him as an individual player, he's shooting the ball, more efficiently. Obviously, all the numbers are there. I'm not saying SJ doesn't deserve it, but I do think, Nikola's season and many other years would be the MVP.
Shally, who's your MVP?
I mean, it's Shai. It's just it's funny when we run into these situations, and I agree with everything Cottrell said. It's funny when you have a guy that's won it, twice, and was the runner up another time, and then he has a year where you could argue is better than any of the years that he actually won the award before, and had more of an impact on his team, which again we found out at the end of the year was crumbling from the inside out. And it always makes you wonder, how much of a factor really voter fatigue is. Like, how much of a factor is I don't want to vote for that guy again. Like, I want to see somebody new win it that's maybe just as deserving. And Shea definitely is. He had a great year. Obviously, you're going to reward the winning, and I don't disagree with any of that either. I mean, if you take Joker away from Denver, obviously they're not the best team in the world, but you take Shea away from Oklahoma City, they're going to take a huge dip as well. So I think he was a guy that a lot of us thought were kind of last year a little bit on the outside looking in, and he took a bigger jump this year, and I certainly have no problem with him winning it whatsoever. If we were sitting here saying Joker won another one, I wouldn't be astounded by that either.
You guys might hate me for this, but in order for me to be consistent, I have to tell you that Shea should not win MVP. I have to be consistent in what I said. Who did I tell you all the time is the most overrated MVP in the history of the NBA? I tell it to you all the time.
Steve Nash.
And Steve, this is Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant. This is what this is, right? Like, we talk about that all the time. This is Steve Nash winning a ton of games with the Phoenix Suns, averaging 18 and 10. I'm not saying Shea averaged 18 and 10. I get that. But Kobe Bryant's stats clearly diminished what Steve Nash did for the Phoenix Suns. But Kobe Bryant was the 7 seed that year, even though he had the best stats in the whole world. And he was the best player in the whole world. And the truth is, Joker averaged a triple-double, averaging 30 points a game with turmoil all around him. He deserves to win the MVP. I'm sorry. I like Shea better. I'm normally accused of hating on Joker. Joker deserves to win the MVP this year. You can't average a 30-point triple-double and not... Like, that's insane. If somebody has a 30-point triple-double tomorrow night, you're like, wow, that guy won the game. He did it the whole year. A 30-point triple-double the whole year. It's a little insane. Knowing that we had a guy win an MVP that was 18 and 10.
No, it definitely is. And I think the part of it that is like, not saying that we've done it, but the part that's like getting swept under the rug is how efficient it's been as well. Like, Joker, I don't know what his exact number is, but Joker has been shooting the lights out from 3. And he was going on that run where he was putting up
41.7%.
Like, that's insane from your starting center. It's not, and he has the volume to go with it. It's not like he's just shooting.
The most threes he shot in his career was this year.
Yeah, so he's doing it with volume and efficiency.
Oh, and he's got 80% from the free throw line too, as a big.
Yeah, so it's absolutely crazy.
Career high in steals, by the way, almost 2 per game. Like, I don't know what else to say.
It's crazy.
As a Cavs fan, I do want to ask you this: how do you feel about the coach of the year? And you know why I'm asking you, right? Because you have Kenny Atkinson. But you also have J.B. Bickerstaff, who was your coach last year.
Yeah.
And that's your top 2 odds getters for coach of the year. Like, the Cavs are like riches. Like, oh, we have that guy. We have this guy. Like, you can't – most teams, if they lost a J.B. Bickerstaff and they seen what J.B. Bickerstaff has done this year, would have been like, oh, shit, not the Cavs. Because their coach probably had a better season. Yeah. Kenny Atkinson or J.B. Bickerstaff, coach of the year?
So for me, I'm going with J.B. Bickerstaff, and I think it's because Cleveland was, and granted, I wasn't expecting Cleveland to take this jump. They were the 4 seed last year, and they had a good year. Them this year was much better. You go wire to wire as number 1 seed in the East. It means a lot, but I do think to an extent people were expecting a jump in the team just because they were another year older. They added pieces. Things like that. That Detroit team was in the dumpster and forgotten about. This is a team that we were talking about, a couple years ago, or being in the position to draft Wemby. Like, they are 1-2 years removed from being in number 1 overall pick discussions. And now not only did they make the playoffs, they're not even in the play-in this year. They wrapped up the 6 seed, nice and beautiful with a nice little bow and all of that. Cade's looking like the star that we all thought he could be. You're getting good production out of a lot of the young guys, Jalen Duren and Jaden Ivey, and so many of those guys. So for me, I would go with JB Bickerstaff. It's not a slight to Kenny, but I mean, I think when you can turn that team around that fast, I think it's important, and I think it deserves some recognition. For me personally, as much as I love Kenny, I think he is the guy. Like, I do think it was the right move to get rid of JB. I think this Cavs team needed to take that next step with Kenny. Very similar to like Mark Jackson, Steve Kerr. Like, for me, that's really how
I agree with that.
How I'm feeling right now. Like, that's really how I feel about the situation. I just feel like Kenny's going to take them to that next level. But the person who I actually would have in second place would be Ime Udoka. For what he's done with for what he's done with Houston. I know they've been on the slight increase year by year, and I know I even picked them last year to be my coach of the year. But ultimately, Houston's season didn't end up how I thought it was going to. I think what he was able to do with that team and just that roster being the 2 seed is something I definitely value, especially with the West being as loaded as it is.
Shai, where are you going here?
Honestly, I think this is tough because I think all three guys Cottrell just made, you really could make a compelling argument for all three. And I mean, Cottrell pretty much just did that. Starting with Houston, I think this was, again, I think this is all the team that we thought they were going to be a couple years ago. They finally got a legitimate coach in his second year now, and they go out into the loaded West and lock down the 2 seed. That's pretty nice to put on the resume. Then you go to Detroit and you have Bickerstaff, a guy who took over for a coach that we all thought was going to succeed there. Got finally a healthy year out of Cade Cunningham. Again, like Cottrell said, turned out to be the star that we all thought he was going to be. Has all the young players playing great. They're kind of an upstart team. And like you said, they're not even playing in this year. They're just a playoff team. At the end of the day, though, I'm going to stick with Kenny. I think Cleveland's a very good roster. I think they're a very good team. I don't think probably anybody outside really of Cleveland, though, thought that team was starting the year 14-0 and then going wire to wire. No pun intended. I thought maybe they would, definitely compete for the second or third seed, with New York and, we thought the Sixers were going to, actually play basketball, but
no, we didn't. We thought they were going to be the last place team in the league.
But for them to go out and front run and then never look back for with the defending NBA champions behind them, who most considered to be the best team in the East by far this year, I think that deserves recognition. So I'll stick with Kenny Atkinson.
I think this is so weird to me because, like, I don't know what Kenny Atkinson could do to win Coach of the Year if he doesn't win Coach of the Year this year. You went wire to wire in the Eastern Conference and had finished with a better record than the defending champions with a roster that's, I'm sorry, I love the Cavs, but like we're not really saying that Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley are a top duo in the league, because they're not. The team just plays very well together. They're very well coached. They're deep. They're getting contributions from all over their team. I think that they're a very good overall team, and they're a well-coached team. With that being said, last year we were talking about the Detroit Pistons roster and saying that, well, they just can't fit together. Jaden Ivey doesn't fit with Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duran, and like this roster just doesn't make it. They're not good. Now you look at them and you're like, oh, well, they fit together pretty well. They did a decent job this year. And then to Charles' point with Ime Udoka, Houston is the 2 seed in the West. We forget that because we think we don't give them a chance. But you got Sengun and Green and Fred VanVleet. It's like, it's insane. There's 3 guys deserving of the award this year, and that's not normally the case, in my opinion. And that's not talking about Mark Daigneault, who absolutely killed it this year for Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, what does he have to do to win Coach of the Year? Like, win 80 games? Like, I don't know. What are you going to do? Good.
No, go ahead. I'm going to let you finish.
They won 68 basketball games, and he's 4th for coach of the year. I just don't know what you have to do at that point. But I will, I guess, give it to Kenny Atkinson as my vote, but I'm fine with it going any of 4 ways.
Yeah, and I think that, in other years as well, Tyronn Lue would have a hell of a pitch as well. That Clippers team, no one expected. Well, I shouldn't say no one, but I didn't expect them to be in the playoffs where they are at right now, given how deep the West is and everything like that. And just looking at that roster, you especially realizing that Kawhi missed a shit ton of games at the beginning of the year. So Ty Lue was another one. I think he's a little bit further back just because of what a lot of these other coaches have accomplished that we've already talked about. But it's been a crazy year for head coaches for sure.
You ain't lying. Let's get to trivia, and then we'll finish out a little coach of the year. And who's got trivia this week?
You.
I don't have it this week, so we're gonna have to skip trivia. I won last week. I'm almost sure.
Or is it Bill?
Bill had trivia. I won last time we did trivia.
Funny thing about that. No, just kidding. I have one.
Okay. Scared me because I'm like, you're like you. I'm like, no, that's not right. But
I don't know. I didn't remember.
Control knew he was competing tonight. That's all he knew at this point.
That's all I knew.
Yeah. That's all Control cared about. Typical. Selfish.
No.
I gotta get on the board, so I gotta know. I gotta know what my opportunities are about.
This is gonna be a really quick. This is gonna be a really quick one. So
let me get to turn off the comments and putting up the. None of it's here. Never mind. We won't do that. Good.
I really want to do a Masters one, but like every top 10 list I came up with, there was always like 2 or 3 guys that like I doubt either one of you have ever heard of in your life, and I was like, it's going to take too long.
PJ Singh.
No, like I'm talking about like some like random dude from like the 60s that had like the weekend of his life that like I barely know who he is. So I know we have a lot to get through tonight, a lot to talk about. So I want Cupcake City here.
I like cupcakes. I'm hungry.
Cupcakes.
I do love a good cupcake. So top 10 NBA / ABA playoff point leaders of all time. Just playoff points scored.
Okay. Well, I get to go first. I won last week, and I'll just take the low-hanging fruit so Cottrell can't take his favorite player of all time. Yes. Give me LeBron James.
Number 1.
Yeah, no crap.
And I will take Michael Jordan.
Number 2.
Kareem.
Number 3. Can we go?
Right.
This would be incredible.
Kobe Bryant.
Number 4.
Don't
ruin it.
Give me Shaq.
Number 5.
Really?
Yeah, I figured he would have to be.
I was trying to keep it in order.
Give me Tim Duncan.
That's number exactly 6. What I was about to say.
Number 6.
I was stuck between that. Give me Karl Malone.
Oh, you broke it. You ruined
it.
That's
strike.
No, it's right. It's number 8.
Okay. Now. We're here.
Okay, number 8. I think somebody who's
the mailman.
Scumbag.
He is.
Yeah, that is a fact. All right, I'm trying to think, guys. Who
I'm gonna give you 15 seconds. Put you on the clock now. These are way too easy.
Dirk Nowitzki.
That's a strike, sir.
Really?
He is.
Right. Oh.
Actually, I'm not going to tell you what number he is because if we tie, then you guys are going to have to pick out of 11 to 20. So I'm not going to tell you where he is.
All right. Well, I got another one that should be a no-brainer. Stephen Curry.
Strike number 1 for you.
What?
All right. Let's go through this list here.
We're missing what? 7, 9, and 10.
Oh, Kevin Durant has to be on this list.
Missing 7, 9, and 10, correct. And he just took number 7. So we're down to 9 and 10. 4-4, 1 strike apiece.
Jesus. Dwayne Wade.
Strike number 2.
Jesus.
Trying to think of guys that have. Oh, you could go ABA. That means I would go George Gervin.
Strike number 2.
Oh. Give me Larry Bird.
Strike number 3.
I will take Wilt Chamberlain.
Strike number 3.
We're 4-4. When do we do hints? Because is it do we need hints?
Oh, you got more in you. We don't need any hints. I know you
I
got
have more in me. I got 5 more in me. Magic.
Incorrect.
Bro, I just had one. Hakeem.
Incorrect.
Didn't play in that. Carmelo.
Nope.
Kevin Garnett.
That's a good
Nope.
one. He said ABA. So
I know, like
I
that's
feel
what
like
I'm trying
by
to.
him saying that, there's got to be at least one old timer on the list.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say this. They're both Hall of Famers. They're both very popular players. Yeah, I mean they're both they're both household names. I can't it's hard to give a hint without giving it away like immediately.
George Gervin.
You already said him.
I said that.
Do I get to go again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Begrudgingly.
That's fair. Oscar Robertson.
Nope.
That is a great one. The only other ABA person that I could think of that would be up there would be Julius Erving.
That's a good one.
Thank you. Number 9. G not getting the obvious hometown guy.
Dr.
Party.
J is number 9.
Party foul.
Oh,
I mean, ABA wise, him and George Gervin literally were the two.
it's a great one.
So you got to get number 10 or Cottrell gets on the board.
I love it. Is that the only old timer? Only ABA-er?
Yeah, actually, because this guy's
After the ABA.
NBA. No, this guy's like NBA through and through. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Like lifer, player, like been involved with the league like his entire life.
Jerry West?
Yep.
The logo. Bro, I'm not going to lie to you. I feel terrible. Can we give Cottrell the win? Because you just gave that away. Like, I was not Jerry West, and you literally just kept going with hints, and I'm like, oh, Jerry West. That sounds like Jerry West. It's 5-5. Who got 11? Whoever got 11 should win.
So nobody got 11. 12 was said. 13 was said. 14 was said. 17 was said. 18 was said. 19 was said.
I feel like we should give it the Cottrell because I would not have got it if you continued going with your guesses. And I want to get back to the conversations, and I feel like Cottrell earned this one.
I'm fine with it.
All right. Cottrell with the win. I'm telling you, I think Cottrell, you would have got that, what he was saying, right? When he kept going. You kind of
after.
I felt like he gave a lot, and it was just like when he said lifer through and through with the league as an executive and a player, I'm like, oh, it's Jerry West.
Who was number 11?
I was shocked when I saw number 11. I'm not gonna lie. When I clicked on the second page, Steph's number 12, and that's obviously with what he had last night, he's still 12. He's going to count. Okay, even still, he's going to pass. He's going to pass number 11 in this next series, so he'll be number 11. Tony Parker is number 11.
Oh,
Steph Curry 12, Dwayne Wade 13, Larry 14, John Havlicek 15,
I 12,
16.
13, and 14.
16, James Harden, 17, 17 Akeem, 18 Magic, number 19 Dirk, and number 20 is Scottie Pippen.
It's interesting.
Interesting stuff there.
Congrats, Kittrell. Well deserved, 100%.
But Steph only needs like 70 points to pass Tony Parker. And then he's got 400 to get to Jerry West to get to 10.
I get the trivia question next week for Kittrell and Shally. Part of me might have thrown it because I have a great trivia question in the fold. Let's move on. Let's go back to awards. And the only reason I want to bring up this award, is to shamelessly plug myself. What award am I talking about, Kittrell? It's a shameless plug. Kyle Edwards.
It's got to be sixth man.
Sixth man of the year, baby.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
All right, listen. Going off at 470 to 1. Not really. It's like 27 to 1, but it was my long shot. I got Matsuyama, and it looks like I'm going to get Peyton Pritchard for sixth man of the year. Any arguments against Peyton Pritchard? Which I will argue.
I don't have any arguments. I mean,
second in odds is Malik Beasley, who's been great for Detroit, just to be clear. But Peyton Pritchard's been on another level.
Agreed. And I wouldn't have Malik Beasley second, personally. I'd have DeAndre Hunter second. And not just because he played for the Cavs, but him being a sixth man for the Hawks too. He was averaging 18 off the bench as well. So he would be my second. But yeah, Peyton Pritchard is your sixth man this year.
And
I agree.
Rookie of the year is pretty easy. It's Stephen Castle. No one's arguing that, right?
Yeah, Castle.
I think where we're going to get the heat is this. Defensive player of the year. Do you think Draymond Green is winning this award? It looks like he's going to win. But
odds just released today, and he is not the favorite.
He says minus 450 on the NBA odds website. Am I wrong about this? This is how long ago is this? This is April 15th at 8:22 a.m. Yesterday morning.
I saw today they had Evan Mobley at minus 235.
I think that they're starting to get the votes in.
Well,
and I think Draymond is losing.
I think they named like officially on the finalist. I think that's what they did the last 2 days. So,
let me see.
I don't know if it's even on FanDuel.
Here's my argument, right? I don't think this is Draymond's best defensive year, but it's like one of those things where he deserved to win it in his career. And this is the last time he's going to have a chance to win it in his career. And I think he's an incredible defender. Is that a fair reason to vote for him? I don't know. I'll say this, right? It's between Draymond and Evan Mobley to me. I think Draymond does a great job on that Warriors team, and I think he's deserved to win the award for a long time. By the way, first time ever, 15,000 live. So appreciate y'all.
So for me, I would say, of course, being Cavs guy, of course, I'm going to rock with Evan there. But I think a lot of it, too, is his ability to switch 1 through 5. Obviously, Draymond has a lot of versatility on his side as well there. But just seeing game in, game out, what Evan can do in the paint, his impact on the game there, ultimately, he would get the nod for me. And if I'm being honest, my person that I would have second would not be Draymond Green. I'd arguably be the guy who should win it, and that's Dyson Daniels. Dyson Daniels has been a thief in the night all NBA season. He's getting steals. He's getting like 4 or 5 steals. It feels like every single night.
He's going to win MIP, though, bro. They're going to give him both.
They're
going to give him MIP.
I thought Cade Cunningham would have been the going away favorite for it.
He'll win MIP.
I don't think Cade's really improved. I think Cade's just finally healthy and
I
put
agree,
a full season together. I hate when that, like, I don't like when people get most improved when we know they were really good and it's a health factor.
I agree.
Give him comeback player of the year then.
I agree, but I'm just saying Cade has been leader in the clubhouse as far as odds go.
Can someone give us the real odds? The odds on apparently the New York Post are not right. NewYorkPost.com NBA betting awards. That's what I've been using.
They're not on FanDuel anymore. I just looked.
A day ago, Bovada had it as Evan Mobley minus 245, Draymond Green plus 195, Dyson Daniels plus 1800.
I think that this is a year where you can easily give it to Draymond and just give him his defensive player of the year.
I just don't want. The thing that I'm not a fan of is.
Has he ever won one?
Yeah, he's got one.
Oh, he has one.
He has one already.
He's won one. Then give it. Then I wouldn't give it.
I think so. I mean, he's been all defense as many times as he has. I'd imagine he has one.
Well, I'm going to find out. Has Draymond Green won DPOI? Yes, Draymond Green won DPOI in 16-17 season. Yeah, then it should go to Evan Mobley. He's never won one. Then I would have said Draymond Green. He's won one, so screw him. Evan Mobley. Not against Draymond. You guys know I like Draymond. It's just
I'm just not a fan of
defensive player in the league.
I'm not a fan of how this. I'm not going to say what. Obviously, Wemby getting hurt changed everything. He was your running away defensive player of the year until he got hurt. Literally, I was looking at numbers. March 5th or 8th, somewhere around there, Evan Mobley was your going away favorite. Like Draymond was plus like 1,100 at that point. And then there's this media frenzy, and a couple people are talking about him. Kendrick Perkins says his name, Shaq says his name, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, that guy should win it. Like I heard him talking about that on TV. Like that guy should win the award. Like I'm just not a fan of that portion, regardless of if it's Mobley or Dyson. Like that being the case, Draymond's on the high profile team that gets the spotlight for being the Warriors, and he's the name that gets brought up. So that's who we're voting for. Like I'm just not a fan of that.
Here's what I want to do. Any other words I'm missing?
No.
Here's what I want to do. Let's pull up the bracket, the NBA playoff bracket. And I would love us to, instead of just going through every series, because I feel like that's a lot. And I just feel like that's where we end up getting these monotonous conversations about, well, I think this is 4-3. I would love us to walk each other through each other's bracket. Like where
we're only going to be a game or two at most in any of these next week too. So we can really dig into them next week. Because the regular season, I think everybody plays either Saturday or Sunday, and then mostly everybody has at least 2 days off. So like I said, most of these are going to be pretty fresh next week when we come back on air. So
I like that. Let's do that. Let's walk each other through our final selections at this point now the playoff season set and how we got there. By the way, Kyle, Perk and Shaq leading the campaign should hurt Draymond's chances. I will never forget, like, was it Shaq or who was it? Shaq or Charles Barkley that had no idea who the coach over the Detroit Pistons was earlier?
Shaq.
You should not be able to vote on awards. Shouldn't be able to talk about awards. Yep. He said, like, Chauncey Billups is doing a good job coaching the Pistons. Is that what he said, right?
Yep.
The guy might win Defensive Coach of the Year. What are we like? Come on, man.
Well, Shaq didn't vote for it. So.
You go to Chauncey Billups. Chauncey had one vote over here in Portland. All right. Let's walk each other through what our finals matchup is and who we're predicting to win the NBA Finals. You can even talk about who you had before the season started if you want. That's fine. I got to double check my list from the season start. I think I know who I had. I just want to double check. Kittrell, do you want to pick your Cavs?
Yeah, I actually am going to pick the Cavs. I know preseason I had the Oklahoma City Thunder going to the NBA Finals, and I know I had them going up against the New York Knicks, and I can't get off that boat quick enough.
Knicks.
I know they are the 3 seed, but I have absolutely zero confidence in that team. Seeing how they played the top contenders throughout the regular season, being a combined 0 for 10 against the Cavs, the Celtics, and the Thunder. But for me, I think the Cavs, them having that 1 seed is one. I think it's important because, especially given the circumstances with the Bucks with Damian Lillard and his availability. But I think you really get, obviously, the first round matchup, regardless of who you see there, you should be able to get through clean there. Against the winner of the Pacers-Bucks series, you should be able to get through clean there. And I think, obviously, most likely going to be meeting up with the Boston Celtics. I think everybody can agree that the Celtics and the Cavs are the two best teams in basketball, in the Eastern Conference at least. And, I think with what the Cavs have done this offseason, even throughout this season, they've geared up to have an answer for Boston's lineup. Being able to bring in DeAndre Hunter gives you an extra guy on the wing there. Obviously, Max Strus is still on the roster there, and you have Evan Mobley to be like a stretch big if you want to go small and play him at the 5. Like, you have the ability to do that. I think this Cleveland team, it has done what they needed to do to ultimately take out a team like Boston. They split the regular season series, and I think that's it. The one thing that I think is important with that, Boston got out big on the Cavs in multiple games, but every one of those games, the Cavs were able to fight back. They didn't necessarily win all of them, but the one I'm thinking about specifically is the 1-2 matchup, primetime TV. They're up 25 in the Garden, and Cleveland storms back and ultimately wins the basketball game. I think that should give those guys a ton of confidence, and ultimately I have them taking out the Celtics in a grueling 7-game series there. On the flip side of it, things get interesting just because of the matchups. I think, obviously you get Rockets, Warriors the first round here. I think that series can be absolutely electric. But ultimately here, I still think the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to go to the NBA Finals. I think they have a tougher road than they probably thought that they could have had going through Denver, and then, going through either Lakers, Minnesota, Houston, or Golden State. I just think that team is too deep there. And until somebody shows they can beat that Thunder team in 4 games, then, I'm going to roll with them there. I think the youth is something that matters for them, but ultimately, I just think they're too deep and too consistent to lose a 7-game series.
I'm actually going to stand pat with what I had at the beginning of the year. I think there's a good chance it happens. I was all over the OKC train last year, but kind of thought they were going to have to go through what they went through last year to make the jump to this. I'm going to stick with them coming out of the West. I think I do agree with Cottrell. I think, beating them in a 7-game series is going to be tough. I will say, I think Denver gets past the Clippers. I think that's a really good series. I think that will be competitive. I think Oklahoma City will play really well and will have to, they're going to get pushed in that series. Lakers, Timberwolves. I really honestly don't care. But I'll go. I mean, they're not going to let LeBron lose in the first round, so I'll go Lakers there. And then the probably the most exciting first round matchups in the in the West. I think Houston Golden State's going to be, there's going to be some fireworks in that series. I think there'll be a bunch of highlights, really good games, close games. I don't know what's coming out of that. I really feel like this is kind of a, Jesus. I think Houston's kind of on that same trip as OKC last year. I think they had a great regular season, playoff exposure, kind of really getting over the hump. Golden State is battle tested. They've looked like a different team since Jimmy Butler got there. I think Golden State escapes Houston somehow. I will go OKC, Golden State in the Western Conference Finals. And in the East, I think it's pretty matter of fact for me. I don't think anybody. I think Cleveland, Indiana, maybe Indiana wins the game. I think Boston destroys the Knicks if the Knicks even come out of that series. But I do think Boston wins a 7-game series against Cleveland. I think they have the ability with that team, with the experience from last year. I just think they eke it out somehow. I think they win it in 7. So I'll stick with Boston and OKC in the finals.
So I had Boston OKC in the finals before the season started too. But this is what I do all the time. I screw up my own picks. I could just stick with it, right? And I could be right. And I'd be like, I had it the whole time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do exactly what I always do. I'm going to change it. I'm going to change my own pick. I still think Boston comes out of the East. I have Boston. So just to be clear, I think there's massive upsets that happen in the first round of the East. I'll take the Pacers over the Bucks, which might not be considered an upset. I'll take the Pistons over the Knicks, a 6-3. I think the Celtics obviously beat the Magic and the Cavs beat whoever is left. In the Western Conference, I have the Thunder beating whoever's left. I have the Nuggets beating the Clippers. I have the Lakers over the Timberwolves, and I have the Warriors over the Rockets. I think that leads us up to a great second round series of Stephen Curry versus LeBron James. Jimmy Butler, the Butler, Draymond Green. Give me the Warriors. I think the Warriors play the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. I'll take the Celtics versus the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals, and give me the Celtics versus the Warriors. I don't care if I'm on my own boat. Mo calls me stupid all the time for saying the Warriors have a chance to win the NBA Finals. I'll take Steph Curry. I'll take playoff Jimmy. I'll take Draymond Green and Steve Kerr. Give me the Celtics over the Warriors in 6 in the NBA Finals.
I mean, I will say the one thing I think is interesting is that the West is an absolute gauntlet. Like I truly think that they have 7 teams that I genuinely wouldn't be surprised. I shouldn't say 7. I'd really say 6, but 6 teams that I genuinely wouldn't be surprised seeing make the NBA Finals.
Control adding to it. Steph Curry, Del Curry, Chicken Curry, Warriors in 5. I'm done. I'll have fun with us all.
I will say though, I don't think the one that I'll go against you on. I got the Knicks beating the Pistons. I'm telling you right now, JB Bickerstaff is setting you up for the JB Bickerstaff special. Like there was no expectations this year, and they go to the playoffs and they look great. They're going to lose that matchup against the Knicks because the Knicks are just out. They outmanned that Pistons team. When you see that same team for, potentially 7 games, you really don't have an answer for it. And what was the issue with the Cavs when they faced the Knicks? Rebounding and not adjusting to what Tom Thibodeau and that Knicks offense did. And I get it. The rosters are different. You have Cat in, you have Mikal Bridges, and they haven't necessarily gelled how you thought they might. But I'm telling you right now, I think that the Knicks are going to win that series.
Who'd have thought that trading Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns, basically getting Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns and sending out Dante DiVincenzo and Hartenstein, and it would get worse.
It's wild.
DiVincenzo and Hartenstein greater than Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges. That Mikal Bridges trade looks worse and worse every day you look at it. What, they have 6 first-round draft picks? I like Mikal. I do. Yeah. 5 first-round draft picks for a third option.
Yeah, I mean, they overpaid for him, but at the same time, I mean, I don't think they had a choice. I mean, you knew what you had in Boston, and you kind of knew what Cleveland was up to. Indiana's still up and coming. You saw what Detroit's going to be, and again, I think Orlando, if they don't have all their injuries in the middle of the season, they're probably seated higher than they are. So I think the East is kind of up and coming. The Knicks just kind of wanted to keep pace. Cat's the one for me that he's just not a primetime player for me.
Hey, average 24 and 12. It's funny. I just looked it up. OG Anunoby's their third option. Mikal Bridges is their 4th scorer. And I can't even be like, all right, well, Mikal Bridges plays better defense, because no, he doesn't. OG Anunoby.
OG, yeah.
That's my point. OG Anunoby has been better for the Knicks this year. And I love Mikal. But like you traded 5 first-round draft picks for I will no longer complain about the Tobias Harris trade ever again.
I will say this though. For what Tom Thibodeau does and him, especially in the playoffs, I mean, that rotation is going to be cut, and they're probably going to go 7 guys on the whole rotation. Mikal Bridges is at least the guy you could depend on to be on the court for as much as he can. I mean, obviously he's played 82 games. I mean, little caveat, last game of the year being in for 6 seconds, whatever. But he's going to be out there on the court. And at least he's going to give you effort on both sides of the court there. So I'm really curious to see if this Knicks team can figure it out in the playoffs. Talent is there. They have not gelled.
I'm fired up for this NBA playoffs. I think it'll be fun. Guys, I feel like it's a criminal act if you don't get one more time Steph Curry versus LeBron James. I want it. Just give it to me one more time.
I hope we get it. I mean, it'll be that will be the prime time main game every time they play, if it is.
Should be. And Jimmy Butler, guys, everyone does this all the time. They undersell playoff Jimmy. They see him in the regular season, and then come playoffs, Jimmy Butler is Jimmy friggin' Butler. You got Butler, you got Draymond, you got Steph Curry. You got a really good chance of getting out of the West.
You will get Jimmy will be in LeBron's ear that entire series.
Draymond will be in LeBron's ear that entire series. Yeah. Like LeBron is going to, and look, I'll tell you something right now.
Luka's going to be chirping too.
Luka will be the absolute liability in that series because they are going to run their offense around making Luka run. If Steph, I'm telling you right now, listen to me when I tell you.
He can't follow Steph around that court. We've seen it too many times.
You put Luka on Draymond 100%.
I fully understand that, but they're going to run their offense through Draymond, and he's going to basically be able to pass. And he's going to if you have Luka sticking him 1-on-1, he's going to drive to the lane and dunk on him every time because he's going to run by Luka like he's not there. Luka plays negative defense. Luka's defense, I'm not kidding you. You can shake your head all you want. Luka's defense is worse than Steve Nash's. It's some of the worst I've ever seen.
Luka on the Lakers has actually been putting in effort defensively. If you look at it night in, night out,
effort,
and a lot of it is scheme too. And I mean, you're going to see it in the series against the Timberwolves because they're going to have Luka play awful lot. JJ Redick does a great job hiding his defensive deficiencies, and you kind of just get him playing lanes or just having them front defenders. And I think if you have them sticking Draymond, you're going to be in a good spot because if at the end of the day, if Draymond is the one that's beating you, if Draymond's blowing by Luka every play and getting points, at the rim and Draymond scoring 20 points in the series, then so be it. Like, I think you live with that if you're the Lakers or anybody.
You can't have a third scorer on the Warriors scoring 20 points because Steph's going to get his and Jimmy's going to get his. If you have another guy going for 20 points in a night, it's not going to be good for the Lakers. I promise.
I'm saying you don't, but that's assuming that they would be getting their normal touches. I'm saying if Draymond has 20, that means the ball is primarily in his hands and he's looking to score. That's taken away from Jimmy. That's taken away from Steph.
I guess we'll find out. I think they have 3 defensive liabilities on that team. LeBron, Luka, Austin Reeves, all liabilities.
That is a joke.
Okay. What's a joke about it?
LeBron should be all defense this year.
Oh, God. Stop it. He never gets to the third rotation. Never. Ever. Ever.
How many Lakers games have you watched this year?
In the league. On ball, I don't disagree with you.
No, not on ball. Off ball. Off ball. You stick LeBron, especially since the trade, you stick LeBron on the center. You have him be able to be in the lanes. Like, again, how many since they made the trade for Luka, how many Lakers games have you watched?
15.
Okay.
He never gets to the third rotation ever.
I mean, the only pushback I would give is, I mean, you'll get max effort LeBron. I mean, that's the one thing I'll say. Like, I don't think he's going to get, is he going to get to the third rotation every time? No, I mean, the guy's 41, but at the same time, like, you're not going to get lackadaisical. Like, he's going to be there. Like, he's going to make you earn it. Luka would be the one, obviously, that would scare me. I mean, you could try to hide him. We had the same exact argument last year, and then as soon as they played a team that could expose him, he looked like a buffoon in the finals. So, I don't know. I'm not going to compare Golden State starting 5 with what Boston can run at you, but at the same time, it's a good coach is going to make him play defense at some point. So he's going to have to do it. He can't. You can't have a guy with his offensive talent constantly being almost awash with what he gives up defensively. So he's got to really lean into the defensive side of the game eventually.
All righty. That's our picks for the playoffs.
For what it's worth right now, too, LeBron has his highest defensive rating that he's had in his entire career this season. Higher than the year he was runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay.
Boom, your face. No,
I mean, I don't care what his defensive rating is. They're not rating him on him getting to his third rotation or how lazy he plays off ball. It's fine.
I mean, doesn't that all factor in?
It does.
It factors in majority of his on-ball defender that he's sticking. And they normally put LeBron James on one of the worst players so he can cheat. They constantly do it. If you watch Lakers games, like what they do.
You're making the point for me. Thank you. That's exactly why they do it, because they want him in lanes and being active in passing lanes and cutting off and giving help to other defenders.
Plays, correct. Which also leads to a lot of exposure because he never rotates. He plays lazy defense, brother. And I can't call it lazy. He's 40. He plays 40-year-old defense. Well, I'm lying because if I was 40, I would never play. He plays 35-year-old defense. Is that fair? Can I go 5 years back? Can I rewind him 5 years? I think that I watch him play defense all the time. He's constantly attacking lanes and trying to jump routes as opposed to playing defense on his defender.
Correct. That's what you do when you're guarding the fifth option. Yeah. And a guy you're not worried about scoring the ball. And that's why you do it.
That's why he has his highest defensive rating.
100%. Again, understanding scheme matters. Like that's like saying a corner is very good in zone coverage and he's jumping routes and things like that. Well, yeah I mean,
you don't rank him one of your top 5 corners because you constantly rank the guys that are great in man.
1,000%. You are 100% right about that. But at the same time, if the numbers are showing me that his zone corner, like Josh Norman, when he was in his prime as a zone corner, if the numbers are saying, hey, you deserve to be on this, first team all pro list, although I think another corner is better than you, that doesn't mean what you're doing is necessarily bad. And that's what I equate that to.
And that's fair. But the response I'll give to you is when Josh Norman got paid and got put in a situation where he had to play man, he got absolutely decimated.
Absolutely.
Now, does matter. And JJ Redick's done an incredible job with that Lakers team. But when you play a coach just like Steve Kerr, who's a better version than JJ Redick is, who's a better coach, who's more experienced, he's going to be able to schematically be able to abuse the fact that the Lakers cannot play defense. And you could watch it. It happened Saturday night, 2 weeks ago, when those two teams squared off and the Warriors beat them 123-116. It just happened. But we'll see. 7. I hope it happens because it'll be the most talked about series. It'll help the NBA ratings so much. It'll be the most watched second round series by far.
Agreed.
All right. We got to recap a Masters. That's what we got to do right now. We got to recap the Masters. And guys, I'll be very blunt with you. I was rooting for Rory to lose the entire time. I wanted him to choke again and again and again. I can't stand Rory. I cannot stand him. He is such a dork. He's just such a nothing about him. I wasn't happy for him. I wasn't relieved for Rory. He hits a ball into the water on the practice round Tuesday and he takes the spectator's phone from them because he said, just like 11 and 20, just like 2011, Rory just takes his phone from him. He breaks clubs all the time. Screw Rory McIlroy. Choke artist extraordinaire. He's a great golfer, though. That shot he hit back-to-back days on that par 5 that he hit one day with the 6-iron and one day with the 7-iron was incredible. These are next-level shots. The shot he hit in the playoff that rolled within 4 feet of the hole, I still thought there was a chance he would blow the putt because he's Rory friggin' McIlroy. Charlie, tell me what you thought of this year's match. And by the way, anybody that's saying this year's Masters is better than 2019's Masters is a moron. Okay, 2019's Masters, the one that Tiger won when 7 guys were within one shot on the 14 when Tiger hit 14. You guys are idiots. This was not a better Masters than 2019. Stop it. All right, I'm done.
It wasn't better. It's up there though. It's one of the better ones. I mean, you look at the star power that was on the leaderboard, and then the people that were rising, falling. it was a very good Masters. You know, I mean, listen, if you're not a Rory fan, I get it. I mean, but at the same time, you know, you look at his past 2.5 years, and it's been a roller coaster for him. I've been a Rory fan for a long time. I've liked Rory since he was young, so I think his swing is just absolutely it's perfection. But I was happy to see him win. He was my pick, obviously, but you know, at the same time, I thought it was good for golf. In regards to some of the other stuff, bad news for you, bro. They all break clubs. They all curse. They all do all that stuff.
I know. I just don't like him.
Every single one of them do it.
Can I just not like him now?
Sure. There's
Not
people
allowed.
there's people you probably like that I don't like. But that being said, you know, I think Bryson's got another little dose of he's not going to be able to win that tournament his way. And until he kind of really plants in his head that, you know, beating Augusta is more about technique than it is just overall brute power, he's going to continue to kind of be where he's going to be. But I think he'll figure it out eventually. I won't be shocked if Bryson wins a Master.
He should win a Masters. He's one of the top 10 golfers in the world. The problem with Bryson is he's gonna shut up sometimes. Like, you don't need to say what comes on your mind. He called Augusta a par 67. Dude, shut up. Why would you say that, you moron? I like Bryson. You guys know how much I like Bryson, Chally. You know how much I like Bryson. But like, the first comment he says after Rory wins the Masters, and listen, I like Bryson, I hate Rory. He didn't talk to me all day, ignored me. Like, it's an absolute shut up.
I mean, I also think a part of it too, though, is one, Bryson. A lot of what you said about Rory at this point in time, you could also say about Bryson, like how he performed like that day. Like, you get the lead, you have all of the energy, all the momentum there, but then like one shot doesn't go your way, like you end up in some trees one time, and then you saw the rest of the day it just completely unraveled for him. And so, I mean, I think he has, you know, Bill, you talk about him not being able to do it with brute strength, and I mean, obviously that's a part of it, you know, what his game plan is, where he wants to end up on, you know, on certain shots and things like that, whether he wants to be in the fairway, you know, further to the right or to the left and things like that. But I think a bigger part of it is he needs to be more composed. Like, we saw it with Rory. As much as, you know, you can call him a choke artist all you want to. With Rory, I was even telling you guys in the group message, like, it amazes me how some of these players can handle being in quite literally some of the worst possible positions, but then overcome that and puts forth some of their best shots of the entire day. The fact that Rory had the double bogey, then he had the bogey right after that, and then you follow it up with an attempt for eagle, like, that's absolutely insane to put yourself in that position. For Bryson, that really never came about. He bogeyed a couple holes here and there. He missed the putt for birdie that ultimately ended up for, you know, with him getting par. And you just kind of let that, you kind of watch that just build up over the course of the entire round. And that's really how he fell off the entire leaderboard there. So I think that with Rory, the fact that I mean, shit, you just seen Justin Rose ultimately birdie 18 to, you know, put himself in that position. You missed the shot, and then you go into the playoffs. Your first shot, you know, definitely looks good, but then that second shot that puts you right there by the hole, you know, 4 feet away from it, you're doing all of that right after you just blew your best shot at a green jacket. And Justin hit a good shot before. Like, I know he ultimately didn't make it, but that's a good shot.
He got very unlucky the way that ball rolled. He got extremely unlucky. I think Justin hit the better shot, if I'm being honest with you. And Rory's shot was incredible. But Justin's shot almost hit the pin. Like,
yeah, but if you know the 18th green, that side of the pin doesn't slope down as much as the other side. Justin didn't hit a bad shot at all, but again, you're not going to get the release back down that hill like you do on the other side. The thing for me is literally the point that Kachel just brought up. I don't think having that many people watch you for lack of a better term, piss it away on the 18th. Have about 5 minutes to collect yourself.
Yeah.
Get in a cart, drive down to 18, and then not even get to go first. Watch Justin Rose pipe a drive, and then step up and hit one 320 dead down the middle on the hole that you just blew the tournament on. Then watch Justin Rose hit another approach shot, which again, from where they're standing, they can't see the green, but you could tell by the reaction, you knew he wasn't far.
Yep.
And then you hit a gap wedge to 3.5 feet to win the tournament again.
Which
and it was,
and
I
was struggling with a lot of that day. Like,
I will tell you, after hole 2, there was 35% part of me that was like, he's going to implode. After he started bogey, double bogey, and then Bryson birdies too, I was like, Rory might melt. Like he really might. And then he didn't. I can't put into words how good the shot on 7 or on 15 was.
Yeah.
To hit a draw around trees that high. I mean, he's still birdied, but I mean,
but he had an eagle putt that was 12 feet.
Okay, it's a downhill side hill putt. Relax. Like, I'll give you 20 of them. You probably won't make any of them.
I'm not Rory McIlroy.
He's Rory.
So it's to hit that shot.
I'll take 20
again
of them, for money.
All right. I don't think people realize how good that shot was. He hit the 4-iron out of the woods earlier in the week, to 5 feet on a different hole. It's just, he hit a bunch of very, very memorable shots in that round.
You want to lie? I want him to win. I hate him. Scumbag.
I mean, he's not a scumbag, but
awful person. Terrible, terrible guy.
I think you should tip your cap to him. I think he deserved it. I think he earned it. And it was, again, I've been a fan of him a long time, but I was happy to finally see him, to watch it. I was super happy that, as always, Jim Nantz and everybody handled the whole situation perfectly. Like, just watching all that raw emotion come out of a person, and Jim Nantz knowing better just not to say anything, just let the camera follow him in and watch all the people congratulate him. And, the moment with Justin Rose on the green, I thought was special. Shane Lowry waiting for him, I thought was freaking awesome. And it's to show all that before you even start talking, just Jim Nantz, again, just proving why he's just, the best in the business. But I thought it was a great Masters. Again, I'm not going to say it's better than 19, obviously with Tiger being involved, coming out of nowhere. But it was a really, really good one, though. It's up there.
I definitely think it's up there too. And the last thing I'll say about it is, I had told Audia, I was like, hey, honestly, I want to see Rory, get the career Grand Slam. Like, I like seeing history happen. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I was like, I need an eventful Masters. And I mean, soon as the second hole happened, I was like, all right, like this is what I wanted. This is what we signed up for. But I think the part that even made it like crazier was that, Justin Rose had been the leader, all of the first 2 days there, and then obviously had day 3, the struggles there. But in a sense, he kind of came even out of nowhere to get back into the mix. Scotty Scheffler was having a great day. Corey Connors was having a great day. Ludwig, he put himself in a position to have a great day. He just couldn't putt to save his life. If he knocks down putts that he normally does, he's in the mix for, taking home the green jacket there. Everybody played their best golf on Sunday, it felt like, and everybody was stormy. But then they just went into these ruts where they couldn't make up enough ground. But it ultimately led to, absolutely incredible Masters.
I love you. Mo! Little Happy Gilmore reference.
Yeah, I mean, to Ludwig's adventure on 18 cost him like $600,000. So
yeah, it did.
It was a good Masters. It was a very good Masters. At the end of the day, though, I'm listening. By the way, I love Bryson, hate Rory. Bryson's got to shut up sometimes. And I also, last comment, I think that his practice rounds cost him on Sunday.
What do you mean?
I think he hit 2 times more practice balls than anybody else.
That's his routine, bro. He always does. That was like Vijay Singh used to be that way.
That's not what he said.
He hits a lot of balls, man.
They mentioned it multiple times. This is the most balls he's ever hit in practice rounds.
I don't think it has any correlation.
Okay.
Again, he tried to hit shots that he didn't need to hit. Like if you're looking at it like perspective, like in the final round, he was only out driving Rory on some of those holes by 10 or 12 yards. But Rory's in the middle and he's in the trees. Like he hits the ball far enough. Take a little off, dude, and just be 330 down the middle where you're supposed to be. It's better than
like you can't hit your 9 or your 8. Yeah, it's not like you can't hit your 9 or your 8.
Correct.
170, 190.
Yes, exactly.
9 iron, 190. I couldn't even dream of hitting a 9 iron, 190.
He just doesn't have to do it. And I think I still think he has a part of him that wants to prove that he can overpower that course with, like you said, with statements he said about it before. And that's not how it is. That course looks unassuming sometimes. Then all of a sudden you hit the ball where you're not supposed to. And then you're trying to hit the ball into a green that has a landing spot of 10 to 15 feet where it's flat. And if you don't land it there on Sunday, with it's dried out as hard as they are, it's going to roll 90 feet the other way. That's
like
Augusta. It is.
All right, well, let's get into a quick UFC recap so we can get into our WrestleMania predictions. I'm gonna lie to you. Can we be quick about the UFC? Because Volk looked back. That was great. Loved Volk. Paddy Pimblett is way better than I expected him to be. I never expected him to get to this level of his career. He looked way better. And the only thing I really loved more than both those things is watching Bryce Mitchell get subbed out. I love that. And that's the card, right? I give you a whole recap. Volk is back. He dominated Lopez. Paddy Pimblett's way better than I expected him to be at. Michael Chandler probably needs to be on the undercard. And Bryce Mitchell's a little punk. And John Silva choked him out, which made him tap, which made it even better.
Agree with everything you said there. Gene Silva win was big. And it was impressive, like how he did it. As far as Paddy Pimblett goes, I mean, you talk about performance of the night. I mean, that's performance of the night personified. I thought he would go into that fight and, be competitive, but he not only was he competitive. I've seen Michael Chandler in the cage with Poirier, Gaethje, Oliveira. None of them have made Michael Chandler look as insignificant as Paddy Pimblett did. And I mean, that is a statement. He looks dominant, and he looks like that's a guy that's going to be competing for a belt very, very soon. Was not expecting that from him. As far as Volk goes, I definitely thought Volk looked back, but he also showed a little bit of vulnerability. He had the knockdown in the second round. He got wobbled a couple times in there, and Diego Lopez was starting to gain some momentum as that fight went on. Ultimately, I scored it 49-46. But it felt like it was a closer fight than what that number says. It felt like a close 49-46, whatever that means there. But Volk is very beatable as opposed to how he was in the past.
The house scored it 49-46, 48-47. Like they went back and forth. But everyone had Volk winning. But like we all said the same thing. It wasn't a dominant 49-46. And like even a couple of us, like 48-47 wasn't. Like there's no question who won the fight. But
right.
You could definitely see Volk losing a second round there.
For sure. For me, I thought it was the third round where I had Diego for sure winning. I gave him 1 and 2. I can understand him losing that second round just because of the knockdown late there, like depending on how you score that. But to me, I think, Volk is definitely back, but I'm not as confident as I was with with his first reign, where it's like Volk's just going to roll through everybody. That chin can be touched now for sure. 100%. And Diego did it. And, there's going to be guys up and coming that are going to also be able to do it. So it'd be pretty interesting.
All right, let's get into it. Can we get into Mania?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have anything to add. It hasn't been said already. Except RIP Michael Chandler.
I have an absolute bold prediction for Mania. So we can't go over every match. We're not going to. We'll just go over a couple of main matches.
Half of them suck, which is why I'm upset to begin with.
I don't think any of them. Well, I think that he chose the wrong tag team titles to be put up on WrestleMania this year. And I get it's the New Day, but I would have chosen.
There's just some filler matches that I just could give two shits about, and they're just not. They're not going to hold any kind of, I would say, significance overall. And then obviously losing Randy KO kind of sucks. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with Randy. Everybody keeps saying he's going to wrestle still, but it's going to be some mystery opponent. But I don't know who it's going to be. But losing that match, sucked because that would have continued to be a really good build, and those guys are both, top of what they do. So
yeah. So I just want to go over like 4 main matches. Is that cool?
Absolutely.
I think there's 4. Do you don't think there's 4?
I think it might be more than 4, but we'll see what your 4 are first.
All right, so it's just me, Oos, day 1-ish. I think that opens the show on night 1, and I think Jey Uso 100% has to win that match.
I don't disagree with you. I think he has to win. I think they have to cash in on him being over. Right. I don't think he holds the belt very long.
I got some fun for you. I promise you.
But as much as I love Gunther, he's over naturally, kind of like Daniel Bryan used to be. And again, with that not main eventing Saturday night, I think it also kind of tells you exactly which way that's going. They're going to start WrestleMania with a bang, and that'll be your first match. I agree there.
Just me, Oos.
I also agree there. Gunther is just so boring to me.
Oh God, he's so good, dude.
He is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, to be a champion, especially now, like, you have to be both good in the ring and also good on the mic, or just give me something.
He's great heel, bro. He's an incredible heel. The problem with this is
writing is terrible with him.
They what?
I think their writing with him is terrible.
Here's the problem.
Okay, I can get behind that.
He's great, like in-ring psychology, pacing a match, like keeping you on the edge of your seat. The problem is him and Jey is a terrible match. Like it's Jey has 4 moves. Jey's a tag team wrestler. That's what he is.
You are not lying.
So when you put those two together, you're like, I would be shocked. If that match goes more than 15 minutes. I do not think we're getting some 25-minute war and then Jey Uso is going to pull it out at the end. I don't think that's what we're getting, because I think that's going to be an awful match if that's what we get. That match can't go longer than 15 minutes.
I have 2 very bold predictions. One of 2 will happen, and I'll get into it when we get to the matches. So I'm going to give you both bold predictions, but one of them is going to be false. Like, one's going to happen, one won't. So because you'll hear when I get there. I want to go to the third. I think I'm going to go to an important match, but it's not a main event. The triple threat match, women's title, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky. I'm going with the EST of the WWE with a little bit of a heel turn. I'm going Bianca Belair winning dirty.
I actually agree wholeheartedly. I think you have to turn Rhea or Bianca, and I think it's too tough to turn Rhea because everybody is going to cheer for her no matter what. So I feel like Bianca's the way to go there, and I agree. I think Bianca goes dirty, especially with just the remnants of the feud with Jade and that whole situation.
Oh, she's turning on Jade. I'm telling you. That's why I think she wins the title, because I think she turns on Jade. I think she wins the title, and I think you get her and Jade next year at Mania, and I think it's a 1-year buildup, if I'm being honest with you. But I don't want to get too far into. What'd you say?
I don't think she keeps the belt for a year. I think her last run, she also has to be booked and built the proper way. She's great in the ring.
She had a whole year face run. She's going to get a heel run.
I heard something out. I agree with both of you. I think at the end, I think she wins. There's a part of me that think Asuka comes back and it helps Io win. So that's where I'm torn. I would love to see Io win because I think everybody expects one of the other 2 to win. So I like when we get like the double swerve. But if I had a bet, I would go with Bianca.
All right. So my last 2 matches, they have to do with each other.
Okay.
Well, I think you're going to get one of these 2 fighters are going to turn heel at WrestleMania. I'm going to give you 2 of them. One of them is, I think a lot of people can see a mile away. I think Seth Rollins turns heel and is the third member of the Authority with Paul Heyman, The Rock, John Cena, and Seth Rollins. I think Heyman cost Reigns and Punk the match. I think Seth Rollins has constantly talked about this, and I think that you're going to see it happen on night 1, and on night 2 you're going to see Seth come down and cost Cody the title versus John Cena and be the third member of the Authority. I got Rollins winning the triple threat match, and then I have Cena beating Cody Rhodes.
I don't hate the theology to it. I don't. I actually love it, and there's a part of me that thinks that's where it's going. The only thing I will say is I think Cena is going over clean at some point. I don't think they're going to have him break that record in a dirty way. That's the only part I would push back on. I'm not saying Seth doesn't interfere or Rock doesn't interfere at some point in the match, but it's not going to be in the final seconds to where it makes Cena win. I'll say that.
I think Rock gets involved. I think Stone Cold gets involved. And I think they start fighting each other and go into the crowd. And all you hear is burn it down. And you see Seth Rollins curb stomp Cody Rhodes. And in the ring, you got Cena, Rollins, and The Rock holding up the belt as the new Authority.
I think, well, first off, I got Punk winning the triple threat match.
I do. I actually have Punk winning the match too. So
I think that Paul Heyman is like some way or like is gonna get involved here, and it may. I don't know if he's gonna screw Roman or if he's gonna screw Seth, but I think one of them gets screwed there, and I think we get set up for a match. I said it on the morning show. I think we get set up for a match at SummerSlam where you get a Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. And you get Paul Heyman in there as a special referee to figure out what's going to happen. I don't know if they put it in the cage or they go bloodline rules, whatever the case may be. But that sets up, a bigger feud for them to have a one-on-one match at SummerSlam.
I don't know if you get it at Slam. There's a big part of me that thinks next year at Mania it's Roman versus Seth to kind of finally put it to bed, one way or the other. And that would be really interesting to see who they put over in that. But I think CM wins. I think it could be one of those things where Paul Heyman does something inadvertently that doesn't make it look like he's helping Punk on purpose.
Or if Heyman does something to hurt Rollins and then Punk wins because of it, and then Roman's looking at Paul. I could see that.
Yeah, he is so freaking good. I don't.
Heyman?
Yes, I don't think he understands the business better than anybody I've ever seen, and that includes Vince McMahon. He just gets it on a different level. I'm excited. I'm excited for the two main events. I hope they don't have Cody win. If Cody wins, I can't even begin to tell you what's going to happen. I would be shocked if they waste Cena. I would, but
the WWE, I don't know. They do nothing on accident. They've been putting up all of the added the Thugonomics stuff back on the WWE store. So I don't know if this is just giving you a little preview of what might happen there. Is he going back to that after he goes on the title run? Very curious to see what nugget happens there with that.
I think it paves the way. I think he wins. I think he breaks the record. I think it paves the way for him and Cena, or him and Randy. I think him and Randy will be at SummerSlam. And I think Randy will probably be the one to retire him. But and that naturally leads back into kind of Randy and Cody. So I think that's the kind of easy roadmap that would make a lot of sense storytelling wise, logically. Because I think that's probably where they turn Cody, so which would be needed in my opinion. So it would be a lot of fun to go on that ride. I just want to see it. I think Cena deserves it. So it'll be fun. I can't believe you didn't bring up the whatchamacallit though. I think the Intercontinental belt has the chance to be the best match of the entire thing. That match is gonna be great.
That's a way for them to get their Intercontinental title off of Braun Breaker without him taking the pinfall. That's what that match is made for.
I agree, but I also think Triple H is going to do the thing that people don't think he has the balls to do. So
give it to Dominic Mysterio.
I think Dom's leaving the champ, and the Heat.
I would love that. I think that's the best storyline thing.
I think the Heat is absolutely nuclear if they put like he can't even talk on the mic now. If he walks in and run Monday Night Raw with the belt, I can't imagine what's going to happen. I think that's exactly what they're going to do. I agree with you. I think they're going to protect Braun and they're going to protect Penta. And then I think it's going to Finn. He's going to pin Finn. I think it's going to look like Finn's about to win. He's going to screw over Finn, and that's how they're going to get Finn out of the Judgment Day. I think you'll see Finn disappear for a while, and then I think he's going to come back and probably make his last really pushed
Gene, I'm
run.
To hear your last one.
This is like, all right, so I'm going to let you know if Seth Rollins does not win night one.
Okay.
If CM Punk wins, I think that you're going to get one of the worst heel turns that no one's going to expect. And I think you're going to think it's going to happen in a way where he's coming out to help and he will be coming out to turn on Cody Rhodes. And it's going to be one of the most over fighters in the WWE. And I think main event Jey Uso turns heel in the main event, and The Rock gets both champions, where he has Cena and Uso. And I'll give you the little backstory. There's a little backstory to it. The Rock hugs Jey Uso on Monday Night Raw, night one. Says, I'm 20 steps ahead of everybody here. Jey Uso entered the Rumble at 20. That maybe a little bit me just foreshadowing. Cena kind of lets Uso win the Rumble. Cena wins Elimination Chamber. Cena turns on Cody. Jey Uso is the third member that comes out and turns on Cody and they create Uso, Cena, and Rock as a faction. And I think it will break the internet. Like, WWE loves making moments like this where everyone has the most over fighter turns heel. And I'm not like, I think there's more. I think it's more likely that it will be Seth Rollins. However, if you see Jey Uso in the main event of night 2 and you go, oh, damn, Gene might have called this one. And I could see Jey Uso turning on Cody and turning heel. That's a WWE thing to do.
I can actually see. I think that one is actually more likely than it being Seth Rollins. I mean, I think Seth is too easy. Like, I think that's the one that's like just too easy to see. So like, I could see Jey having both champs be heel, being on their run, especially if you don't expect Jay's title run to be that long. Like, then you can turn them back, get them back whenever you want to, essentially, just because he doesn't have the belt anymore. So I can see that happening for sure.
I can see Seth. So if Jey turns heel, I think Seth takes the title off him face. I think if Jey does not turn heel, I think that Seth turns heel. I think Seth takes the title off of Jey, heel versus face. I think you're getting Seth versus Jey for the title at like Money in the Bank.
I mean, Seth's technically a heel now, though. So it's like,
I don't think he's heel right now.
He's one of those guys that's over, dude. He's gonna be over no matter if he's good or bad. Yeah. That's what makes what makes him great.
He said recently on an interview that they said, will he turn heel? Will he help The Rock? He goes, I'll do whatever's good for business.
Yeah. I mean, it's my only problem with all that is, again, I'm not saying I would love to see it because I think it would be absolute fucking chaos if it happens. But
it's just me, Oos.
it's got to be. I don't know if you're gonna have the Rock around enough for it to work, and that is where. You're wasting what Jay does Saturday night, which I don't think they take lightly. And then B, again, I think you have to have somebody lined up for him right away. Seth's natural, kind of inclination and rivalry with Roman kind of helps like make that easy. Because again, I wouldn't be surprised if Jay gets it.
Couldn't you have Cody lined up versus Jay if Jay turns heel, and have Cody versus Jay, and then you have Cena versus Orton?
Nobody wants to see Cody Rhodes versus Jay. That's just not.
I guess we'll see. I just think
I just think you have to keep them separate in the regards to. I think you're leaving out Jonathan Fatu is going to win the U.S. belt.
Jacob Fatu, yep.
Jacob Fatu, I mean, I think he gets involved again. That's where I think Jay kind of gets involved. I think Jay gets the big pop. I think he comes down to probably help Roman. I don't know. There's Roman's going to be involved. If you're bringing all these people out, Roman's going to end up in that ring. I just hope they don't kind of. But my problem with it is we're almost sounding like they're trying to set up what they did last year, and I think that I don't want that. I mean, I think if
will be there. They're not having their autographs. Austin will be there.
And again, if it's Austin and Rock and that's it, that's fine. If you're bringing down the cavalcade of people again, I don't want to see that. Like I don't like
it's a third person. I think it's just that's it. I think it's Austin Rock, and I think the next person that comes out is turning heel to help Cena, whoever that may be. I think that's how it's going to go down.
That could be Randy.
Yeah, it could be Randy.
Randy
could be James. Could be Drew McIntyre. Yeah. Could be Seth. It could be a lot of them.
I also, again, I feel like I bring his name up every pay-per-view that happens, but all this news about Brock being officially retired and all this other stuff, I'm not buying it. Like, I would not be, especially now that you don't have, Kevin Owens and Randy doesn't have a match. Like, this is what I also said on the morning show. I could easily see Randy cutting a promo. Like, I don't care who it is. Like, I will take anybody right now. Like, I'm anybody who has the courage to step in the ring with me, like blah, blah, blah. And then you hear the music hit and he comes out of nowhere to just give them an extra match.
Fight. You definitely wouldn't need to sell that fight. If that happened on Friday night and Brock came back and you got Brock Orton, it would just add to the dynamic. You wouldn't need to sell that fight.
And you don't have to have a story behind it either. Like, it could just be one of these Mania fights and then Brock goes on and does his own thing.
I think they've done a terrible job with Drew McIntyre and
nobody even cares about that match, dude.
I think it's because of Drew's eye injury. No one cares about the match. I think they were supposed to do a lot more promo, and then when Drew injured his eye, I think that's what happened, if I'm being honest.
I think Drew's going to end up being Jay's first.
By the way, Jade Cargill's going to lose to Naomi because Bianca's going to interfere. That's it. I just want to get that out there on record. Guys, look, we got to move. You got to be kidding me.
One Charlotte or Tiffy, who wins?
Oh, Tiffany.
I hope Tiffany.
Charlotte's terrible.
Freaking
Charlotte's awful.
I'm tired of Charlotte.
Yeah, well, I wish I could have gave my "You Got to Be Kidding Me" last week, because can I just do it this week, even though it's old and late?
That's fine. I don't care.
Good, Cottrell.
All right, so this week for me, I am going to my alma mater. I'm going to the Kent State Golden Flashes, and I'm going over to the football team. So this past week, Kent State ultimately decided to fire their head coach, Kenny Burns. And you would think like, oh, well, that guy, he's only won one game in 2 seasons. Like, that's got to be the reason why they fired him. No, they actually were going to let him keep his job with the firing. The issue that came about was that it got reported a couple weeks ago that Kenny Burns is actually getting sued because he owes $20,000 in outstanding credit card debt. And this is a coach that makes $475,000 a year and has $20,000 of debt. Now, I'm no mathematician here, but I'd imagine in Kent, Ohio, you can't be living that much above your means where $20,000 of debt is killing you to the point where you're just completely ignoring it and you're getting sued because of it. and now your job is gone. So Kent State ultimately didn't have to pay the buyout. They got to fire this guy for being an idiot as far as managing his money, and now he no longer has a job. I mean, you're 1-21, you're 1-23, and you get to keep your job. That is the best job security in the entire world. And they said, you know what, we'll let you rock. We'll let you go out through your entire contract because we don't want to pay your buyout. But you give them the easiest excuse in the world to not have to pay that buyout and to fire you with cause. So this week for me, Kenny Burns, former head coach at Kent State.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Shally,
Go ahead.
you know, I'm one.
I was going to use Nico, and then obviously when we put in the headlines, I
All right. Well, I want to use, and we just kind of talked about it, and I was going to use this last week, but I want to use Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton for their absolutely ridiculous promo. By the way, if you didn't watch it, it was so bad, the beginning of the promo. I mean, it was so like they were doing such an awful job promoing the match. And then Tiffany Stratton decided to take a shot really below the belt to Charlotte Flair, talking about her failed marriages going 0-3. And then Charlotte Flair released the most non-believable line in the history of the WWE. That's why Kaiser's in my DMs. It's the only man that's ever been accused of cheating, and not a single person in the world believed it. Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton. By the way, WWE cut the entire promo, so it's not on their website. Like, they definitely went off script and took absolute shots at each other, and it was tasteless, and it was also awful. So for that reason, Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair, and Ludwig Kaiser.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Probably should add Kaiser. Kaiser had nothing to do with that. They knew he didn't cheat, though. They were like, that's not true. Like, everyone knew that wasn't true immediately.
Facts.
All right, well, I do have one final thought, though.
I got a couple, so go ahead.
I just want to give one, and then you can go do whatever you need to do. And I might be stealing half of Cottrell's, and that's okay. 2 years ago, I got the opportunity to drive out to stupid Ohio. I'm kidding. But what was it, Akron? We were in Akron, right?
Yep.
Akron, Ohio, and witness a marriage between Audia and Cottrell. And this is their anniversary, and I wish them the happiest and best anniversary. I love, seeing the growth that they have. I love Audia's TikToks of you two on vacations and your weddings. And honestly, it's awesome to watch my friends grow in their relationship. So congratulations. And that would be my final thought.
I appreciate it, man. And of course, definitely was going to go there first. 3 years ago, though. I don't know. Time.
I feel like they were skipping time. It was 3 years.
It's already been 3.
I knew it was 2022, but in my mind, it's still 2024. So, like,
no, I got you. But yeah, I feel like I am the only person that would, in this case, would be allowed to be doing a podcast on their wedding anniversary. So appreciate Audia for definitely understanding that the pod is always going there, but just all the support that get with the pod. She's always talking about the show and supporting us, and of course outside of that, supporting me and just helping me grow as a person there. Definitely appreciate it. So which is again why I won't be on next week, because we'll be on a cruise just celebrating that and having a lot of fun there. So definitely wanted to bring that up. And then also today is me and Bill's co-host of Coast to Coast's birthday, Mr. iBlack Alex Elmore, old as dirt at this point. He is the one.
Screw you, bro.
He's on one of the people on the network that I have absolutely no problems just heckling. Alex might be the most fun person on the planet to heckle, especially because he's a fan of a team that has never won a national championship. So, Alex, I hope this is a great birthday for you. It's only April, and you have to deal with this until really the next time a champion gets crowned. So I'm going to enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed your birthday, and Coast to Coast be back here real soon.
Funny thing, they literally just announced that Jay and Gunther are going to open Saturday night. But
I
to
already
get back
had
to
information.
I know. I mean, it's the only thing that made sense with it not main eventing. So yeah. Alex, definitely happy birthday. I will tell you, it is to Cottrell's point, to watch those two argue sometimes is literally hilarious. Alex has this innate ability to get mad and like take it all in, but still be really funny at the same time. More so than probably I could ever do, because I would just get mad. But he takes a lot of it on the chin and is a good sport about it. But he's also been a great co-host, fun to work with. I've known him for a long time. So happy birthday to him. Obviously, happy anniversary to Cottrell and Audia as well. Cottrell, I wish you well on another year of Audia not waking up and realizing she made a horrible mistake. But no, I love both of you. So again, I wish you guys just another year of great maritable bliss, and enjoy your cruise, and leaving me to work alone with Gene next week. So I really appreciate that. And then last but not least, there's a lot of things falling on today. Today would have been my dad's 75th birthday. So a little bit of don't do that. A little bit of a somber one for me, but at the same time, a happy day. So I will end on that.
He's proud of you, brother. I just need you to know that, and I know you know that, but you got a lot of people that have been speaking your name in a really, really positive light recently, and you deserve it. So, love you, man. Love you and Audia. Love you, Black Elmore. Love you, Shally. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Wire to Wire Sports Podcast. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak. That's Kent State's own, Cleveland's own College Cottrell, Scholastic Shally, Uncle Shally, Mr. William Shawcross, and we are signing out.